sense of confidence, a sense of belief that the board supports them in what they're doing, and also makes them a better teacher. And some of that growth can come, or some of that training essentially can come in how to deal with classroom management, how to deal with students, how to deal with parents, all these things that make them a successful teacher. So the key there is to get the faculty to believe in themselves, not just to believe in the mission of the school, but believe that they are a good fit. Because there will be people who show up who will probably, after 2 or 3 years here, say, I'm not sure I buy into this. There are certain things I think we should do. And that's another whole issue that the administration has to deal with from day one. So I think that the idea of supporting the faculty, supporting the teachers in their classroom, not least of which, of course, are salary issues that you have to deal with in the salary scale.
Well, I mentioned I'm an attorney, and I was, when I went to undergrad, I trained to be an educator. I wanted to be a high school social studies teacher. And somehow I decided being an attorney would be easier, which it probably is. I mean, teachers have a tough job. And one of the reasons I didn't want to become a teacher was because they were pigeonholing us into teaching the test. That was all we focused on. Teach to the test, lower down your classes to teach to the middle, and don't challenge the students. And I think one thing I like about Eagle Ridge is that teachers are allowed to challenge the students here. And one thing that I really think we should do is bring in teachers who are committed to the classical education model, and then allow them within that model to be themselves and run their classrooms the way they see fit. Give them the freedom to teach the way they want to teach within our model. And I think by doing that, we'll have the best production we can get from our teachers, making sure they're involved with the school, giving them input and listening to their input. I think that's the best way to keep teachers here.
This is a hard question for me because I love this school and I'm staying here as long as I possibly can. So, you know, you don't have to worry about retaining me. But I think to try to attempt to see if, okay, what might help a teacher who might be thinking of leaving. I think number one is teachers should be provided with the tools to complete the job to their best ability. And there's always going to be compromises. You know, I can't have a bigger classroom. It's just not going to happen, that sort of thing. But there are some ways that I can better teach my students if I have X, Y, or Z. And just making sure that we do our best to provide those opportunities for our teachers. And then just continuing, this isn't something, it's not a new thing, but continuing the option and the opportunities for some outside professional development opportunities instead of all coming in-house. There are opportunities for many different subject areas to go beyond just what we get at school to really develop our own teaching.
I had the opportunity to serve on the HR task force that just developed the compensation salary guidelines or levels that were just voted into place at the last board meeting. And it's evident from that we are paying very fairly, and we're a well-paying charter school. But if you look at any reports or surveys done as to why people stay or why they leave, you know, money is up there, but it's never really usually number one. There are other things. I think the worst thing you can do to somebody is put them in a position, set expectations, but don't equip them with the tools, training that they need to actually achieve those expectations. So the pay, I'm very excited what we've done with the paid time off policy as well. But then also, along with that, professional development that they need in training. The classical certificate for it, I think, is great. Giving teachers the time they need to prepare, the prep time, and as you were saying, the resources that they need to be successful in the classroom as well.
I also agree that there should be many opportunities for further education, for furthering either a degree or continuing education credits, which we are required. But beyond that, for something maybe we would like to do to expand our knowledge and even in the classroom. Also, the freedom to continue to value the opinions and to voice our opinions. And I think that if someone feels that they're valued, that is worth more, and many times than just the pay itself. Although we do have a very nice compensation package, I agree to keep that.
I think everyone wants to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to make a difference in
the world, and I think at Eagle Ridge, our teachers have an opportunity to make a very big difference in the lives of our students. I think we need to continue to encourage that. We need to continue to give them credit for that. We need to tell the stories of our successful students, of our wins in the classroom, of our wins in the community as our kids learn stuff. It's so easy to get caught up in what were my test grades, what was the DDI score, how did that step assessment go. Those aren't particularly inspiring, at least not to me, but I'd rather hear the story about here's how the pillars were lived out, here's how that teacher really helped my kids. So I think we need to help remind teachers that they do make a big difference in our lives, for our families and our kids. We need to provide teachers with a voice and respect them. I think people want to be somewhere where they can make a difference, where they can be heard. So continuing to engage our teachers. This is a teacher majority board. We need to make sure that we continue to hear teachers and their voice. And as others have said, right, there's training, there's the classical co-op, there's compensation. So I think there's quite a lot being done. I think we need to continue to focus on the recognition and the soft stuff.
I think upon hearing P2, and I understand there was a task force to look at ways on how we can provide better incentives and benefits. By listening and valuing the teachers' opinions, and perhaps maybe every year, every 2 years, do a quick survey to see are they happy there. It's something that it's easy to do, but yet it allows us an opportunity for existing teachers to view how is the school doing currently. And I think when we do that, I think we can see whether or not the current system, the incentives that are in place, and how they're being paid, the advanced education that they're taking, and how's that affecting that individual teacher. So I think maybe periodically survey them to make sure that they're being listened and valued to is important. So continue doing that with the board. I think that's a great job and a great step already that we've done this year.
Once again, I'll echo a lot of the things you've already been said, but especially what you were saying, Kathy, about the public recognition. I think that's something that's beneficial to students to have their achievements recognized, beneficial to the teachers. It makes them proud of what they're being recognized for something that they've actually done. It's connected in a real way to the outside world. It's not just a test score. It's incredibly important. So I think too, along those lines, the more that we can build the sense of community, the sense of school spirit here, that would it gets momentum and make the teachers more and more proud of being here. So of course I echo the compensation packages too.
One of my key roles is talent management. And one of the key things about talent management is, one thing is recognition, second is having a voice, and the third thing is to continue to learn. Everybody, whether you are a student or a teacher, everybody needs to be challenged, everybody likes to